Hey everybody, it's Peter from the Kia Hyundai channel. Welcome to our live video series. I had a couple days off, but we are back, and we are back with a really fun car. I didn't know this was going to show up today, but I knew it was coming soon. So this is the 2022 Hyundai Elantra N, and as you can see by the title of this video, this could be the best N model out there. So here's how this works. We're going to go through this vehicle in detail, and I'm a massive fan of this thing. So I'm going to show you all the cool little stuff that I can find, and if you're looking for an impartial review, I'm just honest, and if I like a car, I'm going to tell you what I like about it, and I'm sure there'll be people that tell you what they don't like about it, and I'll tell you those things as well, but I'm going to give you a heads up. I'm a fan of this car, so let's just put it out there with my biases right there. Now, what we're going to do is, because we are doing this live, we're going to let our live audience join us, and at the 3-minute mark is when we'll start with the content of this video. In the meantime, we're going to talk about some news and some notes, and we'll get going, and I'll also show you how to join us live if you want to stick around for that. So, how to join us live? Let's show you right now how to do that. All right, you go to our YouTube channel, and other than the past couple days where I took a little vacation, if you could tune in exactly at 2 o'clock Eastern time and refresh the page like I'm going to do right now, you will see that the live video comes up here on our home page while it's live. So you're going to click into that. You're going to watch a quick little ad, and while we watch that ad for another dealer apparently, I'm just going to skip that ad. I'm going to tell you about the 3 dealers that support this channel. They are Brantford Kia, Brantford Hyundai, and Owen Sound Hyundai. Those dealers, if you want to buy through them, if you want to buy in Ontario, connect with me and I will connect you to them. And funny little story, that's exactly why we're doing today's video. This is a customer's car who connected with me through Instagram, I believe, and we connected up with Brantford Hyundai, waited for the car because it had to be on order, and here it is today. So if you want to connect with me on Instagram, that's how you can do that right there. The best place to reach me is actually probably by email, just because Instagram is, you know, it's not as a formal or official, but that's fine too. But you can reach me on email, and I will put a link in the description of this video as soon as it's done being live, and you can reach me out there. All of our live videos have that. So we're gonna talk about that. What else I'm gonna do? Oh, like I said, I'm gonna take my coat off here because it's warm in the video bay for a change. So we're gonna go with a little bit more t-shirt look today. All right, let me just put this, that's gonna get dirty. All right, so what's going on in news and notes? Like I said, I was off for a couple days there, just had a little bit of time away, and oh boy, we talked about on the weekend the Ioniq 5 electric vehicle as well as the Kia EV6. You guys have a ton of questions in there, and if you've been trying to get answers from me in the past few days, I legit took some time off. So I don't really do that very often, especially not in the winter, but I have to get back to you. So I've gone through my emails, I believe, got up that way. But I do still have to get to the comment section on that kind of thing. So I will try to get to all those, and I do apologize if I haven't got to you. All right, so let's dig in here, and we will continue on. All right, 3 minutes in, let's go with the content of this video. So first of all, this is the Elantra N model. Now, there's a couple people that are confused between the N line with the 1.6 liter turbo and a dry clutch dual clutch. And this is the N model with a 2-liter turbo, a whole lot more power, an 8-speed wet clutch dual clutch. This is the performance racetrack capable car right out of the box. The N line is a sporty vehicle that is nice to drive. We've done reviews on that car as well. So this is not a everyday person's car. This is not something that you walk in and you go home and you take your mother-in-law out in and she goes, oh, that's a very nice little car. This thing is an absolute blast to drive. So when we talk about a car like this, a lot of people like to go into performance figures and numbers and that kind of thing. And we can do that. We can, we can examine specs all day long, and we'll show you right here just for a second. If you want to examine specs, you can find a lot of great specs on the Hyundai website. And let's just show you right here. So we're on the specs page of this exact car. 276 horsepower, 289 foot-pounds of torque, and all of that torque is at 2100 to 4700 RPM. What that means is all of that torque is available down low, and that's a ton of torque to have a lot of power down low. And what that means is you're not revving it out to reach all that power. You have instant power just about everywhere you want, especially when you put it in that sport mode or different N modes, which we'll talk about as we get into there. So this is an absolute blast to drive. And again, being a performance car, a lot of people like to compare specs, and then they say, well, this one is better because it's a 0.1 second faster to 60 miles per hour, or it is this and that and whatever it is. First of all, going around a racetrack, I guarantee you put a good driver in this car, they can beat you in just about anything you're driving, because driver skill, this thing will take advantage of great driver skill. It is an absolute blast. You can absolutely drive it on the regular roads, but most people are going to find it's a little bit too focused for them. And that's what makes it great. An actual manufacturer built this car from the ground up, not just a wheel and tire bolt-on, but an actual, you know, from the ground up. Now, we've talked about the Veloster N and the Kona N. And the Kona N is the one that takes the most criticism because, again, people are comparing specs and going, well, center of gravity's too high, this and that. Why would anybody want this? The Kona N you're going to buy because you need a small SUV size thing. Maybe you want some roof rails up top. Maybe you want that hatchback style. You need a little bit more space, and it's fun. But when you go into the Veloster N and the Elantra N, you start getting into vehicles that little bit lower center of gravity, and they kind of feel like they fit the purpose. Now, the Veloster N is a car I quite like. It would kind of work for my family, but this car would work for a lot of people. It's got the most rear legroom out of all the N models. You still sit low down, so you feel like you're in a full sports car. It sounds great. It's a ton of fun, and we're going to dig into it right now. So, start with the key over here. You can see typical Hyundai key, lock, unlock. You've got the hold to remote start it, hold to pop the trunk, and the hold to hit the horn. All right, let's jump in here. Very nice color, someone says. Yes, you know what? I forgot the name of the color, but some of my friends on here will know the name of it. It's a gray color, and it looks fantastic. Is it cyber gray? I can't remember what the name of the color is. We'll come to that. Which N car of the three would I pick? Probably this one, but let's talk about that when we take our first questions in a few minutes here. I'll tell you why. Because, again, it doesn't matter what I would pick, it matters what you would pick. And I don't usually recommend cyber gray. There we go, it is cyber gray. All right, first thing you're going to notice is heavily bolstered seats. Now, again, in the Kona N, they're a little bit different, and they don't have this light-up little N here, which if I can get the camera to focus, it'll see the colors. It is not seeing the colors. There's a little bit of a red line here. Wow, there we go. You can kind of see it there. That is a light-up little spot in the seats. The Kona N doesn't have that. The Veloster does. The Elantra does. And they're properly bolstered. They're nice and low to the ground, but not like you're on the floor, but they are just proper the way they should be in a sports vehicle. So jumping inside, you have the nice dual screen. Now, I have to say, the only time I've been in this car before today was in the LA Auto Show, and I was able to sit in it, but I wasn't able to really do a lot of things with it. Driving this car, the overall seating position is very, I wouldn't say exactly Porsche Boxster-ish, Porsche Cayman kind of thing, but it's very similar. You have the steering wheel placed nice and close to you. It's tilt and telescopic, so in a sports car, you like to have it fairly close. The seating position here is very good for a sports car. It's the one thing that I don't love about the regular Elantra. You do sit lower than I would like, which is just the fact that it's a car. Once you get into this model, you want to sit low, you want to look out, and you want to feel like you're in the car, and you really do. So it's pretty cool that way. And let's turn the car to the on position now. Again, try to get as wide as I can here. This is the gauges and dash cluster coming to life there. Now you can see this looks like a typical Hyundai digital dash right now. In fact, I just spent the weekend in my Santa Cruz, and there is not a whole lot of difference here between this and the Santa Cruz. It has the same type of gauge through here. Now, my gauges don't end at 300. I think mine end at 240, and they kind of squinch them together. So my 120 is over here. So again, they add a few more numbers in here. And then over here, you can see that the red line actually has a yellow line, and that is because the car is cool right now. As the car cools up, as it stays cooler, you'll actually see that yellow line come over here. But as the engine warms up and everything warms up, that yellow line can move away, so you have a true red line. And it just lets you know, hey, let's limit the red line in here. I don't want you to pay any attention to fuel efficiency here. And I'll be honest, it's not economy car great in this car. It's performance car competitive is what it is. But again, we've only put 20 kilometers on this car. It hasn't even been through the shop yet. So as we cycle through here, you're going to see a lot of cool things like oil temperature, engine temperature. Yes, we've got a low fuel warning. And when you have a low fuel warning, it says, hey, do you want us to go look for some fuel near you? Let's hit yes for a second. And as we do that, we're going to see our current position. And here's the closest gas station to us. And gas prices, yeah, they're still pretty high. Actually, that's pretty reasonable. Wasn't it supposed to go above that today? So gas prices are high right now. We know that in the area. But you can have these things set up. So again, a lot of conveniences in here that weren't in the cars before. And you can cycle through information in here. There's a turbo in PSI and the torque in Newton meters. I'm going to change this car because I know the customer. I'm going to change the torque to foot-pounds for him later. We'll show you how to do that maybe a little bit later in the video. Lap timer and G-force graph, which is actually pretty fun. You don't want to watch it while you're driving, but you kind of do want to watch it when you're driving because it's pretty cool. So some extra little things in here that you wouldn't have in the normal car. And then again, we're back to normal car. Here's your trip meter type thing. You can cycle through various versions of that. Your navigation information. So again, if you have your nav up over here, you can look at it in the dash over here. And then of course you have tire pressure monitors, which on a sportier car, I think are valid. They're in a lot of cars. Again, this is normal Hyundai stuff right now, but I do think it's pretty cool. Somebody said Ioniq N would be sick, laugh out loud. I don't know anything official from Hyundai, but I do know that there are pictures out, I think over the weekend, of an Ioniq 5N out there. And it would make sense because we know there's going to be a Kia EV6 GT with like 575 horsepower, and there could be an Ioniq N as well. So that would be super cool as well. All right, as we cycle through here, you can look at different dash modes. Right now, these two buttons, these N buttons on the steering wheel, they're customizable. So right now, if you tap this one, the way it's set up right now, and again, we can change this, is it goes through your eco, your normal, and your sport mode. Now that is kind of normal stuff for, again, a regular Hyundai vehicle. Where it gets kind of fun is when you tap the other button. Again, you can customize these buttons to do a number of different things. We'll show you that maybe a little bit later. But we're going to tap this one right now because this default from the factory is tap this and you get, whoa, look at that. The full N mode here. So again, you still see that yellow line in the tack there. This is much clearer in person than it is in real life. So just very or much clearer in person than it is on camera. But you can see how this is set up. And again, it's showing you in the graph, your engine is set to 3, steering is set to 3, suspension is set to 3. So that's the firmest suspension, the most aggressive steering, the most aggressive engine, and everything else. And this makes it pretty fun to drive with great information at your fingertips. And again, you have all the information right there. And then, of course, shift lights are on the outside. Like, they do a great job of using this digital dash in here. Now, there is no heads-up display. The Kona N does offer you that, but I'm not sure that you need it up there when you do have the way this car sits, because the way, again, it's hard to explain, but when you're in a taller SUV, your gauges are kind of down here and you're looking out the window there. This is the gauges here, out the window there. It's a little bit closer in line, so it kind of makes some sense. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to show you some of the fun stuff here. Again, this is normal Hyundai stuff in here, except for this N mode. Now, just to be clear, you can customize where you want this stuff here. So right now you can see the radio is way over here. If you want the radio up tighter, you can hit that. But again, you have good buttons in here to hit in there as well. So let's just check the N mode first. This is all customizable, and it's a cool little display screen that comes up. So you can show your throttle percentage, which is pretty fun because your passenger can see, you know, when you sit there and say that was only half throttle, you can legitimately show them that was half throttle. It'll show you there. Happens to have a tack in here so they can play along. Here's your different gears you're in. If you're paddle shifting through 1 through 8 gear, which is a very instant shift. So this dual clutch, wet clutch, the design of that clutch is actually the same as they use in things like Porsches, Lamborghinis, that kind of thing. It's the fast shifting. It's very efficient actually, but it's very quick shifting, very precise gear shifts. So you can have that in here, lap timer. Let's say you didn't want the lap timer, you want to customize it out, you can do that. And same with brake pressing percentage. You can see how hard you're hitting the brake. So when you're going into corners, you can see how someone's feathering the brake. So for a passenger, it's pretty cool to be able to play along with all these different things, and you can customize that. So we can go up here, we can customize. Let's go to performance options here. So you can set the launch control. So launch control, of course, you hold down there's ways to get it set up. Once you get it set up, then you hold down the brake and you dump the brake while hitting the gas. While you hit the gas, you end up with launch control. And of course, it's a front-wheel drive car. So depending on the surface, you may want to have higher revs on a prepared track and dump it from a higher rev, or if it's a slippery condition, maybe a little bit lower revs like this. You can set up the shift light to come on with an alert sound at 6,700 RPM, or you can change that RPM if you want to have a different RPM. And power shift, so you can activate this. This is pretty cool. Enhances acceleration performance and direct drive feel by optimizing shift response. So what it basically does is there's kind of a graph that they show us in the internal documents, and it kind of revs it up and it kind of gives you that kick in the gears. And it's pretty fun. And again, this car's got the power to not just simulate it, but actually give you that feeling. And track shift automatically activates when appropriate shift program. Activates the appropriate shift program when dynamic driving is sensed, available in Sport and Sport Plus, so it can sort of predict some of this stuff. And the automatic creep, I wish my car had this, because I drive a Santa Cruz, and the Santa Cruz actually has a similar, probably the same transmission. Santa Cruz can tow 5,000 pounds, so its transmission works hard as well in a different sense. But what it does is, because it's a dual clutch transmission, if you're in stop and go transmission, if you're in stop and go traffic, you have to, just the same as a manual transmission, slip the clutch to get going, slip the clutch, every time. So turning off the automatic creep means you have to hit the gas pedal to creep forward, which means you can let your foot off the brake at a stoplight for a second. And, oh, there we go. Somebody's trying to activate their blue. Are you trying to activate your, we have a customer. Hopefully they're not trying to activate their blue link right now. Anyways, the automatic creep allows the car to creep forward when you let off the brake. And in this case, you can turn it off, so it doesn't sort of ride that clutch until you touch the gas pedal and go forward. On my car, I think I would make use of that, but it doesn't offer it in my car. So it's kind of cool to have that.
Sorry. Could you say
So there we go. prevents people from creeping forward when you take your foot off the brake. So that's kind of a cool thing. So a lot of stuff in that, in these modes, and you can customize what these things are, which is pretty cool. And then you get the regular stuff. Like this is just a full value car. We talked about the Blue Link. Blue Link is a cell phone app that allows you to remote start the car. It also allows you to check on a whole bunch of different things, maintenance alerts, you know, all kinds of stuff. You make sure the car's locked from a distance, all from your cell phone, basic stuff. You can play your media through there, HD radio data. Let's see if it works. Sometimes this doesn't work when we're inside the building here. We're going to look at the Doppler radar. Nope, doesn't work. So you can have a Doppler radio station in this car, but because we're inside right now, it's not going to give us a whole lot of information. What else is pretty cool? Valet mode is part of the, if you're ever going to valet park the car, you can kind of limit some things. And you can also see on your cell phone app what people have done with it. Again, customizing it all out. You've got the new look radio here. So when we go there, we can go full screen if you want. So, yeah, I know the buyer of this car is probably not a country music fan, but we got country music on right now for him. So we can switch that up as well. And, yeah, there's lots of things in here you can customize. What I really like about this system is, again, what station do you want? Let's go, we want to go to channel 23. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's a Grateful Dead. There we go. So again, just typing in the information. If we want to go to 08, it's the 80s, or excuse me, number 8, it's the 80s. On which is the pop. If you want a 90s, you go to channel 9. If you want to go to, let's see what 74 is. Number 74 is blues, right? So before you even go there, you can see some of the things on the radio, which is just pretty cool here. And it just kind of makes it easier to do whatever you want. And this is a Bose audio system. So satellite radio, you have this ability to memorize the satellite radio presets, satellite radio station presets. So it can listen to them and you can skip back. If you just missed your favorite song on satellite radio, you can skip back and listen to the song again, or you can jump ahead to the live. So overall, radio is pretty cool on here. Let's come down here. I do like this layout here of the actual buttons here. You've got a volume knob that's sort of there permanently. The start and stop button is right there. The Elantra is pretty well laid out. Now it has this big, in the lower trim levels, I would say this is a controversial piece. It's kind of a separating thing between the driver and the passenger. What works well is this is a great passenger grab handle for your athletic driving. So it does kind of separate the driver and passenger a little bit, but on this car, it keeps them away from your dual clutch shifting transmission here. And you can just, you know, put it in drive, tap it this way and shift on your own. Or what I like to do is you can shift it on your own in the oversized paddle shifters. They come all the way down here. My car doesn't have them anywhere near that length in the Santa Cruz, so they are oversized right there. The light's turned off in here. We're going to turn the climate system on. It is a dual zone climate system, climate control system. You have rump roasters here. You have a steering wheel heater right there as well. So you've got all the things you would want to have. The outside light's turned off, so you probably can't see. There's a ventilated pad down here where you can put your phone and keep it charging, a little bit faster charging on this one. If we throw the car in reverse, you have all the safety features you want. You have rear backup beepers. So even though you have a rear camera here, you also have beepers. And this will go from green, yellow to red as you approach things. And you'll hear things beeping as you approach a little closer. So crystal clear backup camera there as well. So many good things in here. And then, of course, on the steering wheel, you have things, because it's a modern platform, like lane follow assist and lane keeping assist. Now, I highly recommend those. You know, we were talking, so I came back from up north and my car essentially drove itself. Now, I can't really say that because people will get mad at me about the way lane keep and lane follow actually work. But lane follow assist helps the car keep it centered in the lane. And it just takes a little bit of stress off the driving. And for a car like this, we get it. You're a driver's car. You want to have control of your car. But I can tell you on a 4-hour drive on the highway, you kind of just want the car to keep itself centered on its own. And it can do that. It takes the stress out of a long drive. And then when you, you know, on this car, when you get to those tight corners, you can really ramp it up by cutting the corners and steering back for yourself. Take the steering back control back yourself. Again, these N buttons here, we can customize them. We'll show you that in a second. There's an NGS button. There he goes. What is that for? And that stands for, and I mean this legit, N grin shift. N standing for the N type of car, and grin shift, like grin, like smile, like it makes you smile. And that's exactly what it does. It's an overboost type function where it allows you to have the revs full up. It's a 20-second system where it gives you just 20 seconds of immense power and in the revs, full on power. And it's just, it makes you giggle, it makes you laugh, but it's also pretty fun. The exhaust sounds pretty cool. If you want to creep into your neighborhood in this car, do it in eco mode. If you want to go out and impress your friends with the exhaust note, put it in that custom mode and allow the exhaust to be fully loud, and it's pretty great. Why don't we just show you quickly the buttons here, if I can remember how to do that, and then we'll go out and take your questions. So let's go to settings, or setup, excuse me, and we're going to go to button over here. And again, you can customize a lot of the buttons, but here's that N custom 1 and custom 2. So the left side steering wheel and the right side steering wheel, these are the buttons, so we can set it up for anything. So right now the left side is going to the drive modes, and the right side is going to put it in custom 1. So when we talk about custom, again, you can customize the drive mode themselves here and put it, so you can just tap this button and put it in the drive mode you want, tap that button and put it in the drive mode you want. But again, you can customize all these things. If you just want them to turn on the lap timer, you can do that. Drive modes, that kind of thing. So it's telling me my battery's running a little bit, or battery, it's giving me a battery discharge warning because the car's not on. So don't worry about that for this video. It's just the on position. But let's go quickly into the drive modes for a second when we go to vehicle here. And we'll go to the drive modes, drive mode alert change. Where are we? Active sound designed. Oh yes, you can set up the active sound. So this just makes it, you know, customizes the way the sound, personal, sporty. So you have a little bit more extra performance sound in the car. Provides the driving sound of a Hyundai TCR race car. So the person who's watching this car, who this car is, I've just turned that on because I have not listened to it here. I'm going to turn it on to largest change. So when you get in your car, again, the person who knows the person whose car this is, they know who that is. I have now made your car louder than it would normally sound from the inside. And a lot of this is artificial sometimes, but this car legit makes a real exhaust sound. But because these cars are insulated differently for sound, they can cut out some of those sounds. You can enhance it in here. But I just turned that on here because I want to know what that sounds like. If you want me to change it back for you, I can. You can send me a note on Instagram. But I want to see what that sounds like when I drive this car back. And again, we can go into here. I think I was going to try to change the driver... So you can change some of the safety things to be turned off with the N mode. I do apologize. I was going to figure out how to show you to customize those N modes, but we'll do that in a second. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We got 80 people on right now. He says, keep it, Peter, we're good. Okay, 80 people on right now. Let's see if we get to 80 likes. That seems like a minor goal. We're at 42. I'm going to go take your questions. We're going to go show you rear seat, trunk space, and lighting on this car because they matter in this car, especially when I say that this might be the one to buy over the other N models. All right. Jumping in, let's go take your questions over here. And, oops, come on, camera, you can do it. Camera's having trouble following me here. All right. All right, so what we're gonna do, rear seat space, it matters because this car is gonna be, in my opinion, the best one. And trunk space, I think you'll be interested. There's a couple of things that are good and something to be aware of that may or may not like. So there we go. Okay, keep it loud, so we're good. Okay. Would the 2.5 turbo not be nicer in the N models? Sure, but these are front wheel drive models and there comes a point where you get diminishing returns. So keep in mind, they have tremendous power. They can spin the tires, even with summer tires. So you have that, but also the 2-liter engine is gonna be lighter than the 2.5. These aren't just about power, they're also about handling. And if you've ever been to a racetrack and been passed by a Miata when you're in a car that's 3 times more powerful, you'll understand why that weight balance kind of thing matters and having the right around the weight balance where you want it. That 2-liter engine is kind of that perfect mix with tremendous power for the platform, but also that good handling balance as well. If you hit the large N in the info, you will get lap timer, and you can also pull up 0 to 60 timer. Yep. So now I have not driven this car hard. I made a promise to the person who owns this car that I will be gentle to it. So we'll just so you know, I haven't driven this particular car hard, so I can't tell you everything about it. Does the DCT have adaptive cruise control? So the DCT is the dual clutch transmission. The car would be the one that would have adaptive cruise control, and this car does not. So I have the same transmission in my Santa Cruz. You could get it there. You could get it in the Sonata N in the Hyundai lineup with adaptive cruise control, but in this car, you can't get the adaptive cruise. Okay, There's some questions in here. I think they're asking about fuel. It does not take regular fuel. They do suggest premium fuel. I can double check. I'll be very honest. I haven't checked if it can take regular fuel. Most of the time they recommend, like for instance, 91 octane in this car. They'll recommend 87, but it can benefit. Sometimes we have cars that can benefit from the premium octane. They do recommend 91, but I don't know if that's just to get the performance or if it's a requirement. So I'll have to double check that. I apologize for not looking that up before the video started. Someone says I should have made the roof black. I don't know. I see what you're saying on like the Veloster maybe or on this car, but the way this car is shaped, I kind of just think it looks good. I mean, I guess the center you could black it out. There's lots of cool things you could do. We'll take a look at the design in the back in just 1 second here, and maybe you have a point. I think this car would look great with tinted windows as well. So, okay. It's a blast to drive. I've had it for a couple months now, and I still get excited to take it for a spin. And yeah, he's thrilled with his purchase. Think about getting a Elantra. Would I be stupid to not consider the Toyota Corolla anymore? Okay, if you're thinking about getting the Elantra, yeah, get an Elantra. Over a Corolla, I like them better. you might like the Corolla better, and that's cool. I like the Elantra better. One thing you won't get from Toyota is anything like this. This is a better car. This is a performance model. Okay, so when we talk about that tinting the roof black, yeah, you could like wrap the roof black. It would look pretty cool. The reason it might look kind of cool is because this window ends here, and then they give you that extra panel just for styling there. Then you have this sort of better spoiler than they have on there. All right, let's take a look in the back seat. Again, one of the big reasons is I don't feel like you have a whole lot of compromises in this car compared to the Veloster. The Veloster might go around a track a little faster. It's probably lighter, but I just don't think the average person is going to perceive that. And you know, you got to be a really good driver to reach the limits of this car. So you're probably not going to be any faster one way or the other in a Veloster or this. But this is where there's a huge advantage. Now, there's things I really like here and a couple things I think might be misses. So jumping in the back here, tons and tons of space. The headroom is fine. Again, so the Kona might have a little bit more headroom, might not have a ton of headroom. There are no seat bolstering back here. It's not like you have two bolstered seats and then the center is uncomfortable. It's just kind of a regular Elantra seat. You do have that sort of suede kind of feel in the center of all these seats, front and rear. The Kona had very thick seats, and it felt like there was a little bit less room in the Kona than even the Kona N than the regular Kona. And the Kona does not have a ton of rear legroom compared to the Elantra. So Veloster, tight back seat. Kona, for knee room, the next tightest. And the Elantra, check this out. I have the seat set to where I need it. I'm about 6 feet tall. Now I might move the seat a little bit, but the point is I can move the seat anywhere I want and still fit a 6-footer back here. It's just, you're not losing anything. You sit low to the ground. It feels like the same car, but you're gaining that rear seat space here. Now, you might notice there's no armrest back here. That's something that we could talk about. We'll also talk about another little thing about the back here. The other thing I would like to see on any car, as we're approaching this price level, it's about $37,900, I believe. Come on, camera, we can do it here. Gotta find my button here. Okay, let me just, there we go. There we go. One thing I would like to see is some vents or USB ports, something back here for the guests. It's driver-centric on this car the whole way through. You do have dual zone climate control. You don't really worry about the backseat passengers extra. So again, it's totally fine back here. It's just at the price point, those are things you could probably throw in for not a whole lot of cost, and I don't know if it would have made a difference to anybody. Nobody's going to not buy this car because it does or does not have vents, so why not just throw them in there and see if we can do that? But they may have the reasons. And again, no USB ports back here, which kind of surprises me for a modern Hyundai vehicle. All right, overall the door, I should point that out here as well. You also have that sort of suede type feeling to the door. So again, the idea is that these are grippy seats, and certainly in the front seats with those side bolstering, a lot of fun. A little less side bolstering there. Now, I'm gonna pop open the trunk. There's a lot of ways I could do that. I could just approach the trunk and have it open. There's a button on the back here which could have it open, which is really nice. Just a lot of sedans don't have that. You can also open it right here with the key fob, so we'll just do that for a second. As we open it up, you're going to see right there, you have extra support in there, extra strengthening, and that also means that you're going to be pretty limited in putting this seat down. Now, it does go down. It is a pull down, but it's not a 60-40 split. It's a single piece, and you're going to be working around that. So putting hockey sticks or something like that through, a little bit of lumber, I guess, if you're doing some home improvement, you could put it through, but you're not passing everything through that you would in the normal Elantra. So it's something to keep in mind. You do make a sacrifice here for having some performance. Underneath the floor here, people are going to ask, so there's your inflator kit down there. So again, lighter weight, that's part of why they're doing that. Good trunk space here overall though. Let's take my friend the teddy bear, who is wearing a bow tie to match the sporty accents in this car. And the one thing about the Elantra that it does well, it has a good sized trunk. Not a lot of cars, and even the Kona you can stack teddy bear on top of each other, but you don't have anywhere near the floor space that you would have in this car. So largest trunk, largest rear seat, and from the front seat, no compromises, right? You basically have that Veloster N feeling from the front seat. Kona N sits a little taller. Maybe some people want that. It's a different seating position, certainly an attractive seating position, but this car feels the part through and through. Taking a look down here, let's take teddy bear out of here for a second, and throw him back on the seat here. Take a look at the overall style back here. They do some cool things as well. We've got that spoiler that kind of matches up those sharp creases there, that kind of match up the sharp creases on the driver's side here, which I'm having trouble filming just because of the angle of the car. But that sharp crease look is continued there. And then you have these oversized exhausts. Like, this just looks cool on this car. This car means business. That is a reflector, not a light, just so we know. On the Veloster and the Kona, they have a triangular thing up on the high mount light. This is a standard high mount light in the Elantra. Same idea right there. It does sit above the spoiler. In case you're wondering, is it blocked by the spoiler? It is not. And we're going to turn lighting on this car right now and go through front and rear lighting just to show you what we've got. All right. Car to the on position. And the lighting is on all the way. We're going to go left side signal just to show you everything. So you do have the signal light in the mirror there, nice amber light there. LED lighting throughout this car. So again, high-end kind of feel and look. So you can see right there, you do have your LED daytime running lights. They are flickering on camera. They don't flicker in real life. Check out the blazingly bright headlights right there. Really well done there with the headlights. Now, you can see the signal light, just like the regular Elantra, is kind of built in there. On this side, it's basically hidden. When it's off, you just don't see it. When it comes on, though, easy to see, well placed. You have the red line throughout the whole thing. Black plastic here, not the piano black, so just a sort of matte black kind of look to it. Matte black kind of look to the side here. Overall sporty feeling of this car, along with the wheels, it just looks fantastic. I do apologize, I haven't cleaned this car up yet. They have to detail it for the customer. The wheels look different in person. On camera, the bright part shines through well, and it's hard to pick up the details of the shadow. In person, they are very interesting, very intricate. Oversized brakes in this car, so you've got that. No blind spot cameras in this car. Blind spot cameras would require the 360 camera view, which would have cameras in the mirrors. This doesn't have that. It can repurpose those mirrors and look backwards, but not on this particular car. Again, this is all about performance. And as we come along the backside here, you do have the proper LED lighting here. Now, what I don't like is the way it films. In real life, this looks the same color all the way across, but the camera recognizes, hey, that's a brighter, there's something about it. So in person, this looks identical across the whole thing. It looks really good, gives you some real width to the car. And of course, there's your signal light on this side as well. So just really good tied-in performance look. The way they do the angles on this car, you may not like in an economy car, but it makes this car look more aggressive. It ties it in with the spoiler, ties it in with the wheels. You know, it's a red line that's not just a red line for the GT line of something like in the Kia world. It is a true performance vehicle. It's pretty awesome. So here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and take a couple more questions. Got 107 people on. We were going for 80 likes. There's no reason we can't hit 100 if we all just hit the like button right now. We got 67. We're 13 low of my goal, but I feel like we could hit 100 likes. So I'm going to go take as many questions as I can, and then we're going to go back, probably wrap this video up unless we have to go back to the car, which we will do if we need to. Again, just real quick note, this car is a sold unit. Somebody reached out to me on Instagram and said, hey, I want to buy that car. And I hooked him up with our sales team. Here it is. He's going to pick that up I don't know when he's going to pick it up. Very soon now, though. So that's how this works. That's how we do this. Does this have the coat hangers for my suits? Let's go check. That's one thing I've never looked out. I don't know. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So let's just lean back here with the seat. Hey, look at that. It does. So you have the coat hangers right there and the handle right there. So good question. I did not check that before. So a lot of our cars do, but I wasn't sure if the N would have. There we go. We're picking it up Saturday. Cool. So hey, send me a message on Instagram. Let me know what time you're picking up Saturday. And if I am free, I can't promise I will be, but if I'm free, I'll come meet you. So that's one of our readers, or one of our watchers here. Does anyone know, I don't know what that is. LuxCare XT, I don't know what that is. Okay, bonjour Peter, I'm always confused. N-line and N, could you please explain which is which? Okay, so N-line is a step up to sportiness. So it's more fun, good power, but a great car for just about everybody. If you can afford the N-line versus the regular one, you should probably go for it. You know, it's maybe a little bit worse fuel efficiency, maybe a little bit better, depends on how you drive. But it's just a little bit more power, it's stronger. If you get the N model, that's what this is. The N model itself is a racetrack car that is road legal. And you can set it up so the suspension softens out so you can drive it down the road as an everyday car, and it's still a firm suspension. Someone like me would absolutely love it. Someone like my wife, she wouldn't be that into it. But then you can stiffen up the suspension to racetrack ready, where it is aggressive and an absolute blast. But that is the difference. N-line versus N, you do have the difference in there. So I've seen Elantra N with a black wrap roof and the windows black. It looks great. That's cool. Real drivers don't need all the gadgets. It's about handling and ride. Yeah, that's a fun statement to say when you drive a 1993 Civic. But the reality is, if you buy a 2022 car and you spend $37,000 on it, you need some extra stuff. And this car's got the right mix of tech throughout the whole thing without a whole lot of extras. It is a really true modern sport car that you wouldn't see. Like, most manufacturers don't have anywhere near the courage to make a car like this. So I kind of disagree with you. If you're taking your little your little old Civic and souping it up a little bit, then you can claim that you don't need everything, because yeah, you can put a whole bunch of money into a car and make it unreliable and make it fun. But this car is from the factory, a version that has never been seen before. Any Kia Stinger Scorpio coming in? No, Stinger Scorpion is now done. We won't see any more of those. Okay. Blind spot cameras. Someone says it's there. It's not. There's no blind spot cameras on this car. So there's that. Is this for sure a driver's car? Who cares about passengers? Yeah, it's hop on if you want to go for a wild ride. Exactly, yeah. So rear seat, that kind of thing. Rear seat, again, we were talking about rear seat. Front seats are excellent for passengers to grip on the racetrack. Rear seat passengers are going to have fun, but on the racetrack, they're going to move around a little more because there's no bolstering, and that makes sense. All right, I think what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to leave it there. This is a car where if you want to know more about the technology, go back a week or so ago. I did the Kona N, and I dove into the technology. It's basically the same on this car. There's very little differences that I can see so far. In fact, I don't see any differences. And so you can go see the technology more on this car. Check out our Veloster N. Check out our Kona N as well. And now somebody asked me which one of these is my favorite. So let's address that. First of all, what is my favorite should not matter to you. I drive a Hyundai Santa Cruz. For most of our viewers, that's not the car I would recommend for them. It works well for me. In these N models, this would be my choice. I love the Veloster N styling because it feels like a sports car, but the reality is my life doesn't always fit the Veloster N. There's nothing about this that would not fit my life. The four doors fit my kids comfortably. I can set it up comfortably to drive across the country, but I can hit the button on the steering wheel and turn it into that true sports car. The Kona N, I probably like that hatchback style for an everyday vehicle, but for me, you don't gain enough in the Kona N for me to move away from this. That doesn't mean the Kona N isn't right for you. I really like that the Kona N has proper roof racks. I can put my kayak up on there and that kind of thing. But wow, this car impresses me. This is super good. Somebody says, does it have matte paint? This one does not. I haven't checked. I think this does have the matte paint option. You guys are going to know before I will here. I haven't looked at the colors here. Let's just see if I can scroll down and find the colors. I don't think there is a matte paint on this one. There is the matte paint on the Veloster, so there we go. All right, we're going to leave it there. I want to thank everybody for joining us. We hit 84 likes, so we did our best with it. This car is gone on Saturday. Now, I do believe the receptionist told me at Brantford Hyundai that there is one more in stock there that came in around the same time as this. So it's possible that there's one available without waiting, but I'm not sure if she's correct. So you can always obviously get in touch with me and we can go from there. All right, thanks everybody for watching. This car is amazing. Go buy one because you'll never regret it. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you again in the next one.